5 minutes past 3 p.m. East African time. Good afternoon and welcome to a Farmers Media right here where we have the Farm Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibel, taking you all the way to 5 p.m. I hope you're having a lovely afternoon on this 21st day of 2021. And this is the home of where we tell the story of an African farmer. And I believe today we are going to have a conversation that is slowly becoming the future of agriculture, especially with this pandemic. People have realized this is the way and this is what we need to do, and this is the cheapest thing that we can do on our farms. We're going to be having details of that and much more in a few, but remember also we'll be having the interesting segment of the show, that is the pan of the day. And definitely for those planning adequately and efficiently with these long rains, we shall be giving you the weather updates, and towards the tail end of this show we shall be giving you the traffic updates for those on the roads and traveling home or traveling to different places in a few. Exactly for the people in the five red zones, that's Nairobi, Kiambu, Kajiado, Machakos. Make sure you just will be here to make sure that you are home safe and sound before 8 p.m., and for the rest of the country at 10 p.m. And definitely also we just urging you, as we continue to try and contain this virus that is the COVID-19. We need to do three things as put in place by the Ministry of Health, and definitely also the World Health Organization, that is wearing your mask properly, sanitizing when necessary, and definitely making sure you have kept your social distance. I hope you're doing that, because we need to take care of ourselves. The numbers that you're having, the positive rate is still not looking so good. So we need to take care of ourselves, the people that we love, and the people around us, the people that we work with, so that we actually get to the post COVID 19, or post the pandemic, as soon as possible, right? And so today we are going to have a very interesting conversation. We've said this is the future of agriculture. This is what people have decided to get into. The young people, together with the old people in the urban settings, people in the rural settings, have decided this is what they are going to take up, and it has taken pace, and it's going on a very good trajectory. And we are talking about organic farming. And this organic farming definitely can be defined as an agricultural process that uses biological fertilizers and pest control acquired from animal or plant waste. So this is just biological um, process whereby you use biological fertilizers, and at the same time there you make sure you are using pest control or animal and plant waste. And at the same time, this is a method or system which has actually answered, especially those who actually care for the environment, or this is an answer to the environmental suffering caused by the chemicals in the pesticides that we have, or chemical pesticides and synthetic fertilizers. So this is an answer for those environmentalists that we have out there. This is a solution that actually most of them have embraced. If you're a farmer and at the same time you are an environmentalist, sorry, this is something that you have taken up, because it's all about organic farming, where you don't have these chemical pesticides and same time synthetic fertilizers, just using animal or plant waste and biological fertilizers. And so some of the components of this organic farming: one, you're talking about waste. So the first component that we have is household waste. And here we have three kind of wastes. We have the kitchen wastes, the animal wastes, and the plant wastes. Kitchen waste, you're talking about ile chakula umebakisha pale nyumbani, yanaitwa mabakshishi ya chakula ambayo umekula, probably the supper you've had, or lunch. The kitchen waste that you have, last week we talked about there is no waste in waste. And so the kitchen waste that you have, either if you don't have poultry, you can take that to be your manure. The kitchen waste that you have, make it quote unquote your fertilizer or your manure. And so at the same time, the animal waste, probably you are living in a setting whereby you have poultry farming, you have pigs, you have all these animals where you're rearing all these animals, and you have their waste, and you're talking about there's no waste in waste, and so you make that animal waste to be your manure. At the same time, we're also talking about the farm waste, ile waste kidogo iko pale kwa shamba. You just recycle that waste and make sure it's part and parcel of the manure in the farm. And so those are the three elements in the household waste, talking about the kitchen waste, animal waste, and the plant waste. And the second component of organic farming is biofertilizers. And this, some of them, ziko na majina ngumu, but we shall try and actually just mention them. We have azotobacter, that is Azotobacter. We also have another one is azola, blue green algae, and then we have also some fungi. We also have rhizobacteria. So just understand that the components of organic waste, we have two of them: the household waste, and now these biological fertilizers. We've talked about biological fertilizers, pesticides, or pest control, and also the animal, plant, and the kitchen waste. These are some of this is what is entailed in the organic waste. But when it comes to components, we just have the household waste, because all this is found in the setting, all the surrounding around your farm, around your house. Talking about kitchen waste, talking about animal waste and farm waste for the household waste, and then some examples of biological fertilizers. So those are some of the complements that we have when it comes to organic farming. And so we have different objectives or different reasons as to why we need to get into this kind of farming, especially right now when we're having a pandemic and the economy is not really doing well. This is one uh, venture that so many farmers out there, because it's cost effective, and probably it's something that suits you. You are an environmentalist and you've decided enough is enough with these chemical pesticides. And so these are some of the reasons that you as a farmer, you'll find yourself getting or diving into organic farming. One is it increases genetic diversity, because when we are talking about now this kind of the kind of the kind of farming being organic. So when you're having this kind of waste in the soil or in your farm, you find that most of the times it will increase your genetic diversity. All right. The second objective or reason as to why most farmers will find themselves getting into organic farming is organic farming promotes more usage of natural pesticides. All these pesticides that we are talking about are natural. They are not chemical. They are all natural. And so you being there, probably you've had a bad experience with chemical pesticides. Now you have a reason as to why you can get into organic farming, because here we'll be promoting or making use of the natural pesticides that we have around. Wengine wanajitengenezea huko nyumbani, but make sure you have consulted really well. We shall be coming to how to start about the organic farming, but make sure you have consulted uh, thoroughly, so that when you're using the natural pesticides, they're working for you. Some of them are very short term, others are very long term. So it's up to you to understand what works for you and what is necessary or required in your farm or in your setting, the farm setting that you have around your home. The third objective or the third reason as to why you should use organic farming is it ensures the right soil cultivation at the right time. because you have to prepare this soil from the word go. And so it ensures that the right soil is being cultivated at the right time. This we shall see when we start talking about how to start or how to actually do this organic farming in the right way. Also, the fourth reason is keeps keep and build a good soil structure and fertility. Remember, we are using biological fertilizers. At the same time, we are using household kind of waste, talking about animal waste, talking about plant waste and kitchen waste. And so the fertility of the soil increases and becomes so good. At the same time, the soil structure becomes good and is building with time. The more you use this kind of the components that we have, the household and the biological fertilizers, the more the structure or the more the soil structure becomes good and better. At the same time, the fertility of this soil is growing and it's becoming it's very fertile at the same time. And so the last but not least is control pests, diseases and weeds. When you use organic farming, you're able to control these pests, diseases and weeds very easily. All right, so those are some of the some top 5 reasons or objective as to why people or you as a farmer you'll find yourself getting into organic farming. So one, we've talked about increasing genetic diversity. Two, talking about promotion of usage of natural pesticides, because everything that you're using is natural, no chemicals, just everything is natural. Biological fertilizers and household wastes, animal, plant or kitchen, whatever suits you, whatever you have or whatever is available for you, as long as it's either of the three, the kitchen waste, the animal waste or the plant waste. The third objective we are talked about is it ensures the right soil cultivation at the right time, because you have to start from scratch, you have to start from somewhere, and you have to actually cultivate your soil. Make sure it actually ensures you have done this in the right way and at the right time. All right, the fourth one you've talked about keeping and actually builds your soil structure, and at the same time increases your fertility in the soil. And so the last one, and it's not the least, it enables you to actually control pests, diseases and weeds. And so how to start this organic farming? Remember, everything we do in agriculture, you have to have a plan set aside. Hauingii pale kiuduzo unataka kufanya vitu vile tu unataka. You have to start from somewhere. You have, everything is systematic when it comes to farming. Everything must be under a system. And every time we talk about agriculture, every time we talk about farming, two things or two values come in place. It's patience and intentionality. If you want to get into organic farming as something you want to do, you want to venture into it because you want to go natural, you are into environmental issues, you just want to keep the environment clean and get natural food straight from the farm, because you are tired of the chemicals, you've had bad experiences with chemical pesticides. Now you want to try actually the natural pesticide that we have around. You have to be intentional, and at the same time you have to be patient with the plants and the methods that you're going to use. And so for you to actually for these two values to work, then you need to understand how to do things. That one is very, very important. And so the first things first, prepare that soil. That is the first thing you need to do before you start organic farming. I want it to immediately you get there and get the seedlings and ushaanza kupanda. you have to prepare these soils. And so to ensure this is just to make sure that you have ensured your condition, you've conditioned the soil properly. It's ready to get to actually handle organic farming. And so this offers your veggies fresh nutrients. For example, you want to start on a clean slate on where the veggies that you have, kama ni kunde, if it's the cabbage, sukuma wiki, all this, the veggies that you have, you want to have fresh nutrients in abundance, or while building the products that you have, or the plant products that you have, you want to start on a clean slate when they are fresh and everything can run smoothly. So the notion that we've been having before is that the application of chemical treatment to the soil is actually harmful and harms the essential bacteria, microbes, and worms. That is what people believe in. And so you'll find yourself, when you're trying to prepare the soil, you want to start on a clean slate. You've decided you've already harvested what was there before, and so you want to start now doing it without chemicals, and making sure you've prepared the soil for now getting into the vegetable farming. But this time round, you're going to use organic uh, uh, type or system, organic farming system, where you're going to use uh, household wastes, biological fertilizers, and natural pesticides. That is the only thing you're going to use in your farm or in these vegetables, because you want to probably try out to see if it can work for you, if it's you have the discipline to actually take care of these vegetables without using the chemical pesticides. And so the first thing, you have to prepare that soil. If you want to get it from the start, prepare this soil adequately, condition this soil to actually get or adapt to organic farming. And so the second thing, which is very, very important if you want to go the organic way, is you prepare the quality compost. The compost that you have, whether it's the animal compost, whether it's the plant waste, or the kitchen waste that you have around there, it's advisable for you to prepare your own compost on site. Si ati unatengenezewa mahali pengine alafu unaileta. No, just prepare just nearby, just near your site, wherever you're going to. For example, in our case study today, we are talking about vegetables, or the veggies that you have, or the veggies that you're trying to actually plant. So this compost, either the animal waste, or the plant waste, or even the kitchen waste that you have, prepare all this near your site or near your farm. And so this compost helps by feeding plants, cutting down on weeds, conservation of water, and keeps the environment clean by keeping the waste that you have, or the food waste that you have, out of the dustbin. You don't every time the waste, the food waste that you have, or the kitchen waste that you have, every time you're taking that waste to the dustbin. No, now right now you have somewhere you can take this waste. And so at the same time, you're taking care of the environment, because there's no harmful chemical that is going to the environment or around you. Okay. At the same time, also cuts down on the weeds. This compost that you've decided to create actually kills the weeds that you have around your farm, because at the same time, remember, you've prepared the soil as the first stage, or at the first thing you've done, is that you have prepared the soil. So the second thing now is to prepare the quality compost. Make sure it's of high quality, it's good, and can bring out the product that you want as a farmer. And so at the same time, the best compost is formed by mixing the soil with the right proportion, that is of carbon and nitrogen, and make sure it's rich in two things. In short, yeah, there's carbon and nitrogen. So as you're mixing the soil and all these components that you have, or this composition that you have, make sure the soil is part of it, and the compost that you're making is rich in carbon and nitrogen. All right. So even the waste that you have, the animal waste, the kitchen waste, and the farm waste or the plant waste, make sure you have at least balance that equation very well. The soil, the waste that you have, the two main components that you're supposed to be having, that is the carbon and the nitrogen. They are rich in both. That is, we are talking about now the waste and now the soil. Make sure you have mixed them in a very and as you are mixing, you have one whole compost that you can use around your farm, so that now you can get the produce you're talking about. Because now at the same time you'll have made sure that you have conditioned your soil as you're preparing the soil, and now when you have this compost in the farm, make sure it's rich in nitrogen, and at the same time it's rich in carbon, and soil is part of this compost or the waste that you have created. And so after now you've done that, remember now sasa you've just created, or you've just made sure you have planned everything on the farm. At this moment in time, you have not brought any product. You've not brought what you're supposed to plant. You've not brought these veggies you're talking about. You've made sure the soil, you've made it's adapting to the conditions that you have put in place. You've prepared the soil. Sasa sahi umeshatengeneza hiyo the composite. Now you are good to go. Now the third thing, which is very important, is selecting the best seedlings. Remember, now you've prepared the farm, you have prepared the compost that you're supposed to be using. Now you take the further the third step is where now you'll get out of your farm. Remember all these things you're doing around your farm, especially preparing the compost. It's just hapo karibu na site yako, hapo karibu na shamba lako. The two first steps, you're doing them in the farm or near your farm. Now the third one, you need to get out. This is where you do a bit of research. Get to understand who has the best seedlings. And these seedlings, when you're planting the organic garden, it's beneficial to choose seedlings which with the better chances of thriving in your micro conditions. And that's why you need advice. You need to do your research properly and thoroughly to understand the seedlings that I'm getting. Remember this right now. Now you have an organic garden. This is what you're preparing. So the seedlings that you'll get, make sure they will actually thrive in the micro conditions that you have actually conditioned them to have. So you'll need to go for those that have been raised without pesticides or chemical fertilizers. And so this is where now you need a lot of advice from agronomists, from if you trust your friends who are farmers. You need to do your research, and at the same time you need to ask for advice. You need to understand this person who sells seedlings, certain seedlings that he has or she has are conditioned and or are raised without pesticides and chemical fertilizers. And so huyu mtu anatumianga biological fertilizers, at the same time anatumia natural fertilizers kukuza the seedlings. So those are the best because they'll be able to adapt to any conditions or any condition that you have, because now you've prepared your soil. Remember, it's conditioned to actually get or to get organic or to get organic seedlings. So it will not be a hard you'll not be having a hard time to get seedlings which are conditioned to actually grow in an organic garden where you've prepared your soil, it's conditioned properly, imeweza ku and the fertilizer that you're using, the compost that you've used, the waste that you've used, so everything is working for the good. So now when it comes to seedlings, you have to do the same. Everything has to work in the right way. There's no way you're going to use the chemical pesticides or you're going to use pesticides or chemical fertilizers. Everything is organic. Talking about natural fertilizers, natural pesticides, sorry. At the same time, we're talking about household waste and biological fertilizers. And so, as you're choosing these seedlings, remember to pick from those that have been raised or from those that have been growing in an environment where there are no pesticides and there are no chemical fertilizers. And this is now where we come in as a farmers. If you need those seedlings, if you need to understand what kind of seedlings I need to buy, you as a farmer, probably you there, you're thinking of how you are going now to prepare your soil. You've already thought of driving into the organic farming system type of system. Now, this is where we come in as a farmers. We will tell you what kind of seedlings you need. We have all those seedlings, the organic ones. If you want the inorganic, we still have. So you can contact us. You can actually write on our comments, because we are streaming live on our Facebook page, that is A Farmers with a Z at the end, and definitely on YouTube at A Farmers Media Kenya. Just talk to us. You can actually write there what kind of seedlings that you want to actually have. Tag your location. We can know how to work with all these logistics. So when you come back, it's about the small tips that you need to gain or need to understand before you actually get into organic farming. So when we come back, it's about the tips and the types of organic farming that we have around. All this and much more after this short commercial break. And welcome back to A Farmers Media right here on the Farm Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibe, 20 minutes to 4 p.m. And this is where we tell the story of an African farmer. If this you've just joined us, remember we're talking about organic farming and we are asking, is this the future of agriculture? Is this the way to go, especially when we are having the likes of global warming and the environmentalists around the world just making sure that we are using less of chemicals in our plants, less of chemicals in our farms? Is this the future, particularly during these conditions or this the condition that we're having right now of COVID-19? Is this the future of agriculture? Is this the way to go for the young farmers that we have out there, the young people who want to get into farming, and definitely any other person who is new, whether not probably you're not young, you just started farming when you're a bit old? Is this something you will try? You can comment on the comment section right there. We shall be reading your feedback as we continue with the show. Remember, if it's your first time to actually join this channel, remember to comment, share, and actually like, and please just follow the page, and make sure by the end of this week, angalau right now we are at 117,538 people following this page. So if you have not followed and probably you've been watching all these times, and jiangalie tu sahiyo kama umefollow, at least we can hit 1,117,000 and at least 600 by the end of this week. We can make it to that. And definitely, if you're watching on our YouTube page, that is African Farmers Media or A Farmers Media, remember to subscribe. There's a red button on your right. Cheza now hadi fade. By the time you've done that, just know you've subscribed, and at least we can get to 100 subscribers by the end of this week. I know we can do that. And so definitely, as you subscribe, remember to like, click the thumbs up button, and you can comment and tell us, do you think organic farming is the future for agriculture, especially right now when you're facing the pandemic, right now when global warming is something the environmentalists around the world are trying to tackle and trying to go and actually eradicate anything to do with chemicals in our plants, in our food, and definitely in our farms. And so before we took a short break, we were talking about the definition of organic farming, talked about the objectives or the reason as to why people actually get, or you farmers, you get into organic farming. And of course, we talked about the components. And just before we went for that short break, we also dealt with how to start organic farming. We talked about the first things first, preparing that soil. And second thing, we talked about prepare quality compost, making sure that this compost is rich in carbon and at the same time rich in nitrogen. Make sure you have formed this compost together with the soil. And so the third thing we talked about now is buying or selecting the best seedlings. If you've decided to go organic, organic throughout. So even the seedlings that you're buying, make sure that they have grown, or uh, they have actually been raised without pesticides or chemical fertilizers. And now you know what to do. Just call a farmers. Our number is running on the screen. Just call that number. We will help you accordingly. Don't worry about your location. We can work on the logistics of the location, but definitely, as long as you get quality services, because that's what we are here for. A farmers is all about attaining knowledge and growing your profits. So you attain your knowledge, you call that number, you want these seedlings, we deliver to you, and at the same time, or at the end of it all, you grow your profits and everyone goes home as a winner. So make sure, if you want the seedlings, just comment on our Facebook page whatever you want, the seedlings that you want, specify, and we shall be able to communicate with you, and we shall be there to deliver all kind of services that you will be asking for. But if that is too much, you can call that number that is running on the screen right now. We shall be able to deliver as soon as possible. So as we continue, there's several tips that you need to understand even as you're doing this organic farming, especially when now you have already done it. You've already prepared your soil, prepared your compost, quality compost. You have the seedlings now from A farmers, and now everything umeiwachia the system to take place. The seedlings are growing, everything is taking place, but you need to notice some of these few things, especially the pests in your garden. If you see several pests in your garden, there are very, very few indicators that should be guiding you of problems. One, insufficient of light, moisture, and nutrients. So if you start seeing pests, wadudu tu kwa your organic garden, just know there are things, or these are indicators of things that you're not doing correctly. You're not you're having given your plant or your farm insufficient light, nutrients, and at the same time moisture. Hauipatii maji, mwangaza upati, and the nutrients that you given, or you actually during the compost, when you're making the compost, they were not enough. So you need to do something, and this actually will help you. And because these are some things that you can observe through your eyes, you'll start seeing very many pests. Remember, this is organic, so having pests kidogo tricky. And so when now you start noticing these three things: insufficient light, nutrients, and at the same time moisture, water. Now, those ones should be indicators of you're not really doing well in terms of organic farming. So that is very, very key. And at the same time, during your harvesting, especially for those who have decided to do organic farming for home consumption, remember, not everyone is doing for sale. There are people wameweka tu kunde hapo, wameweka, we're talking about vegetables now, all kind of vegetables for home consumptions, or for home consumption. And so it will be best if you check your garden daily, because these are some of the things you might not, if you're not keen enough, if you're not checking your garden daily, you might not notice. And so you need to check up on your garden daily. Garden is, ni kama mtoto, it's like a child, a small child who is trying to grow. So you have to check up on this child on a on a daily basis, so that you notice the inefficiency of light, the inefficiency of water, the inefficiency of nutrients. It's not growing, stagnant, the pests, all these things. You'll only notice them when you check up on your farm on a daily basis. All right. And we're talking about you now growing this or doing the organic garden for your personal use or for home consumption. You have actually to, it will be advisable for you to actually pick your products when they are fresh. When they are just fresh, venye tu zimekuwa fresh kidogo tu, just pick them immediately and preserve them before you even need them. You'll find some farmers will just pick hizo skuma, wanangoja zikuwe kubwa sana ama zikuwe mzuri, and then they'll just pick, alafu wanaenda kupika. If they are already good and fresh, you can pick them, uziweke, just preserve. They don't need to be you don't need to make them unazifanya zi overstay kwa farm. If they are fresh and probably hautaki kuzikula hiyo siku, you'll be consuming them in the next few days, you can just pick and preserve. So that's another tip that you can take when you're doing your organic garden pale nyumbani. Kashamba kako kadogo, umeamua kashamba kidogo, we don't want to use the chemical pesticides, we don't use the chemical fertilizers, we just want to go natural, maintain the environment, keep the environment clean. So everything you're going to do here is organic. So those are some of the tips that you need to get even as you continue doing your organic farming. So make sure you are checking up on these farms on a daily basis, every single day, kama mtoto mchanga, so that you can actually observe the pests in this organic garden of yours and now realize it's because of lack of water, light, or even nutrients. And now you'll act accordingly after you have seen all that. And definitely, because you are observing, it's all about observation. You observe and see your veggies are fresh, they are good to go. Zitoe, preserve them vizuri for later consumption. All right, so those are some of the tips that you can actually take as you continue with organic farming. And so there are two types of organic farming. One, there is pure organic farming. This is pure, just pure. And this is where you just avoid unnatural chemicals. Everything that you're using is pure and natural. Hapa hakuna chemicals imetumia. And in this process of farming, all the fertilizers that you have, all the pesticides that you have are obtained from a natural source. All right, everything. When it comes to pure organic farming, everything that you're using, the pesticides, the fertilizers, all of them are from a natural source. So it's up to you. Is it available? Is it practical where I am? You don't have to force issues. If it's not practical for you to get everything natural, then you can try what we call integrated organic farming. That's the second type of organic farming. This includes the integration of pest management and nutrient management to achieve ecological requirements. Hapa unaweza kuwa tunacheza kidogo tu, but at the same time you are not using chemicals. Remember, here we are not using chemicals. Everything is organic. There's nowhere there are chemicals, but now you can use this pest management and nutrient management kucheza tu now. But remember, for pure organic farming, everything is from a natural source. So it's what suits you. So remember, this is when you are doing your research, you're talking to the agronomists that you have around, as you're asking for advice, whatever suits you, because you'll tell them, this is my plot, this is my farm that I have, this is what I actually have, this is the type of soil I'm working with, and all those things. They will advise you accordingly. They'll tell you, now you have all these natural sources, so just go for pure organic farming. And if you don't have that, you can get into integrated organic farming. All right, so it's up to you to see what suits you, what works for you, what floats your boat. And so we get quick first two techniques involved in organic farming. The techniques that you as a farmer you need to actually observe or use when you are doing organic farming. And so the first one is crop rotation. That one is very key because this is a technique to grow various kind of crops in the same area according to different season that we have. So you just rotate the crops that you have. Kama hapo ulipanda tomatoes, as ukishavuna unaweka kitunguu, ukishavuna unaweka, you make sure that the same part or the same area you don't grow the same crop twice mfululizo. Make sure you rotate that area with different type of crops. That actually increases the fertility of your soil. Remember, we are using organic type of farming, or we are practicing organic farming. And so even the fertilizers that you're using household wastes. So the more you use in this type of organic farming, the more the fertility of your soil grows. And so now you can imagine when you try and actually use the technique of crop rotation, actually increases the fertility rate of your soil, because now you will not doing the same crop in the same place twice. You're just rotating according to the seasons. Kama hii season vitunguu vinafanya vizuri, unaweka kitunguu pale. Kama ni the vegetables that you have, unaziweka pale. Just make sure you don't repeat the same place twice in a row. Right? So that's the first technique that you can use. That is crop rotation. The second one is green manure. This refers to dyeing plants that are uprooted and turned into the soil to make them act as nutrients for the soil to increase its quality. Remember now, this is the plant waste. The dying plants that you have around your soil. Usione kama hizo ni unwanted plants. You can just make sure you've uprooted, turned, umeziweka vizuri into the soil, and they'll be very useful in that soil. Hata kama umeona they are dying plants, just make sure you have uprooted, umezitengeneza, or you've turned them into the soil, you've just mixed them very well with the soil, because this one actually increases the quality of your soil. At the same time, the fertility of your soil is very, very high, and the nutrients that the soil will get will be of high quality. So make sure everything that you have is the same thing that we're talking about right now, being in the long rains. You're taking advantage of these long rains. If it's if it's being a source of water to your farm, or you're harvesting that water for the next season that probably will not experience the long rains. So it's up to you to know you need these dying plants. When it comes to organic farming, I can use them as a green manure. Unazichanganya, you just uproot them, just mix them with the soil that you have, and when you're doing that, just know the nutrients will be very, very high and will be of high quality, and at the same time the soil quality for you as a farmer will increase. And if the soil quality increases and there are lots of nutrients, then even the products or the produce that you'll get at the end or when you're harvesting will be of high quality, and you'll actually be going profits. For you who actually wants to get into agribusiness ama unauza, or for you who is taking this produce as for home consumption, remember now you have fresh and high quality produce. Your family is eating healthy. But if you're into agribusiness, if you're selling this produce, just know you're selling or you're doing it will be a win-win situation for you as a farmer, because you're having produce which is of high quality, sorry. At the same time, the consumers are enjoying produce that is of high quality, and the value is worth. All right. So the first one being crop rotation. That is the technique that actually I think most farmers use, crop rotation. Second one being green manure. Now the third one is biological pest control. And with this method comes we use living organisms to control pests with or without the chemicals. Others will use, but any living organism that actually can feed into the soil, that's what people use. Animals or living organisms that can get into the farm na zinaweza kukula zile wadudu wako kwenye shamba lako. That is one thing that you can use, the biological pest control, the living organisms in the soil. So this one can be done, as we have talked about, with or without the chemicals. Remember, right now we are talking about organic farming where we are not using chemicals. So it's with or without. Either way, it's doable. The biological pest control is doable. The fourth one which actually most people use, is compost. And this is highly rich in nutrients. It's recycled organic matter used as a fertilizer in agricultural farms. And if it's a compost, you're talking about now the animal kitchen waste or the plant. Now you have to mix with the soil. Remember, you're talking about the compost being rich in carbon and nitrogen. And the good thing about this compost can be recycled. Unaweza toa ile ikiwa imebaki kidogo uongeze ingine, and you keep on recycling. It doesn't go to waste. There is no waste in waste. Ikiisha kidogo, tengeneza ingine. Just make sure it's rich in carbon and at the same time it's rich in nitrogen. As you're mixing, remember to actually input the soil as you're mixing this compost. And the good thing, or why people actually love using this type of technique, is that it's recyclable. It's recyclable organic matter. Even when it decays, doesn't become waste. The more it decays, the more it becomes of the soil fertility gets higher. So there is no waste in waste when it comes to using this kind of technique. And so on the techniques, just to go through, we've talked about the crop rotation, where you actually make sure that you grow various kind of crops, different kind of crops in the same area, but you should not repeat the same crop twice in a row in the same area. Just make sure you rotate. Second one, you've talked about green manure, making sure that the dying plants that you have in that farm of yours, you've decided to actually uproot, mix with the soil, unawacha ikwen. The soil becomes of high quality and the fertility is okay, and the nutrients are too a very of high quality too. So it's the nutrients and the quality of the soil, right? And also the third thing, we've talked about the biological pest control, the living organisms that you have around the farm or around the soil that you have around. You make sure that you've put the biological pests into good use, can be used as pest control. You don't have to use the chemical pesticides. These are what we call the natural pesticides. The biological pesticides you have, pengine ni millipedes zenye uko nazo tu hapo, zinakusaidia kuua pests ambao wako hapo, because remember, we are not using any kind of chemical, whether it's the pesticides, or whether it's uh, or whether it's the fertilizers. There's nothing we are using that is chemical. The fourth one we've talked about now, the compost, which should be highly rich in nutrients and at the same time highly rich in carbon and nitrogen. And now we have said the good thing about the components on the compost is it's recyclable, and that there is no waste when it comes to waste. So now you are at the techniques. You have already understood the techniques. Some of the techniques, you can use all of them at the same time. There's no limitation. Whatever float your boat, or whatever float your boat, just do it. All right. And so the relevance for organic farming, or why actually people use this kind of, or the need for organic farming. One is excessive use of chemical fertilizers reduces the fertility of the soil. So you'll find that farmers, there are farmers who have used excessive use of, they've actually exceeded the chemical fertilizers, and their soil fertility is getting down or it's reducing. So you'll find most of them will decide, you know what, my fertility, the soil fertility that I have right now is very low. So let me get or jump into organic farming to actually increase the fertility rate of my soil. So that's one need of organic farming. Okay. The second one is excessive use of chemicals has led to soil, water, and air pollution. Probably you're having the fish, you have a fish pond around. You also have the the same farm where you're using these chemicals, and also the air. You're having children around, you're having your neighbors around. Every time napiga dawa, chemicals, and you use them in excess. You don't know how to use in limited in in limited quantities, and so you find your fish are dying. The soil fertility is going or is reducing, is going low, and at the same time, the air you're breathing, you feel like it's so congested, has so many chemicals, and so you decide this is the reason as to why I'm going to get into organic farming. The other one is to conserve ecosystem. This goes to the environmentalists. You'll find they might influence you to actually get into organic farming. Be like, no, no more chemicals in the farms, in the food that we eat. All these things, they are very, they want everything to be organic and chemical free. And so you'll find most of them are actually advocating for to conserve the ecosystem. The other one is to promote sustainable developments, because now we are getting to a point where the economy is a bit hard. People are having low purchasing power. The farmers, you as a farmer, getting difficult for you even to get the seedlings to even start or give the produce to the market. So for you to be sustainable, we've talked about people having all this produce for home consumption. So at least you are able to sustain yourself together with your family. All right. And so we take a short break. When we come back, it's about the benefits of organic farming and the limitations that we have. Remember, if we have the benefits, then if we are not careful, you'll face the limitations. But at the same time, the good thing about the limitation is that these are some of the gaps that farmers who are into organic farming are going through. The disadvantages that are into organic farming, but those are the gaps. But you, as a farmer or someone who wants to get into organic farming, can come fill the gaps and comes benefit for you. So all that after this short break. Remember, we'll be coming back with the plan of the day, and definitely for those who want to understand or kujipanga vizuri adequately for the rain, we shall be also coming back with the weather updates.
Agriculture is the art and science of cultivating the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. Agriculture provides most of the world's food and fabrics. It is not only a source of food and income, but also creates employment opportunities for many people in the world. Over 1 billion people worldwide work in agriculture, generating 2.4 trillion for the global economy. The global impact of farming on the environment is revealed that 40% of the Earth's land is now given over to agriculture. Agricultural development is one of the most powerful tools to end extreme poverty, boost shared prosperity, and feed a projected 9.7 billion people by 2050. And we, the Our Farmers Media, roll the carpet for you as we welcome you to our thrilling farm visits to different farmers that educate and inspire you in different sectors in agriculture. Catch us also on our shows on all our social media platforms as we bring you educative and informative information that will help you learn and guide you on your agriculture journey to success. Our farmers attain knowledge and grow profits. Celery is a marshland plant that comes from the same family as carrots and parsley. It has long, firm and pale green fibrous stalks and grows in bunches of approximately 8 to 10 centimeters. The stalks taper into leaves at the top. When planting celery, it's best to ensure that the soil is enriched with compost and with a soil pH of between 5.8 to 6.8. It is also important for celery to grow in moisture-retentive soil. Lastly but not the least, select a site that receives full and direct sunlight. Celery needs about 130 to 140 days to mature between seedling and harvest. Growing celery is generally considered to be an ultimate vegetable gardening challenge. It's easy to grow but has very specific needs.
As we quickly progress from agriculture to agribusiness, market is key. Join us every Wednesday as we bring to you Market Watch, a show that covers candid discussions regarding the state of the market. Tune in and let's turn our farms into businesses.
Welcome back to A Farmers Media right here on the Farm Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibe. Definitely, we are about to get into the good things about the benefits and also the limitations and the relevance as to why you should get into organic farming. But first things first, if this is your first time to join or just watch this channel, remember to comment and like, share, and definitely follow this page. Let's get to 1,117,600. Right now we are about 538, 1,117,538. At least by the end of this week, let's get to 1,117,600. All right, and definitely pale YouTube. Remember, it's our page is a Farmers Media Kenya. Let's at least get to 100 subscribers. Right now we are around 70 something subscribers. Just make sure this page grows. Make sure you comment, subscribe, give a thumbs up, and definitely it's because we do it for you. All this time coming daily from 8 all the way to 5 in the PM every single day, 5 days a week. We do it for you. So the least thing you could do is just follow this page, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And we will be actually gladly be reading your comments anytime you comment, and definitely we shall be grateful every time you subscribe, and definitely when you follow this page. And so to any farmer who is out there and wondering what should I be doing tomorrow, nitakuwa nimekaa kwa nyumba, nitakuwa nimetoka, how is the weather looking? Definitely start with Nairobi. It will be a bit cloudy and rainy tomorrow, with the low temperatures being low as 19 degrees Celsius. And for Mombasa, bit sunny, the whole day will be sunny tomorrow, with actually a low of 27 degrees. Definitely watu wa Nakuru ama Nax Vegas, it will be a bit cloudy, partly cloudy, with a low of 19 degrees Celsius. Watu Eldoret kutakuwa na jua and a bit cloudy, with a low of 19 degrees also. Kisumu will be raining heavily, with a low of 21 degrees. And twende wapi, tuingie watu wa Bungoma also, you'll be experiencing rain tomorrow, with a low of 19 degrees also. Watu wa Garissa will be actually sunny the whole day, with actually a high of 31 degrees. And also let's go to Naivasha, pia kutakuwa na manyunyu pale, with a low of 16 degrees. Watu wa Narok pia kutakuwa kunanyesha kesho, with a low of 17 degrees Celsius. Watu wa Kericho pia mvua utakuwa unaipata pale kwa wingi, with a low of 16 degrees Celsius. Watu wa Migori pia will be very rainy tomorrow, with actually a low of 17 degrees. Watu wa Machakos kidogo kutakuwa na mvua kesho, maithaa ya jioni, and the low will be having, you will be experiencing a low of 19 degrees Celsius when it comes to temperature. Watu wa the river pia the same thing, a low of 19 degrees Celsius. Watu wa Webuye tomorrow you'll be experiencing heavy rains, with a low of 18 degrees Celsius. Watu wa Makueni, Ukambani kesho kutakuwa kunanyesha heavily, with a low of 21 degrees Celsius. And watu wa wapi pengine tusome a new town, watu wa Taita Taveta, kesho kutakuwa na jua ingine kali, because you'll be having or experiencing a low of 24 and a high of 32 degrees Celsius. Pale kutakuwa na jua mingi sana. And we go to some part of Mount Kenya. Let's go to Murang'a. Also will be having you'll be experiencing rain tomorrow, with a low of 20 degrees Celsius. And a new one for today, tuchukue Oyugis. Watu wa Oyugis kesho kutakuwa na mvua mingi sana, with a low of 19 degrees Celsius. So remember, if you're a farmer in any of these towns or across this country, make sure you mejipanga adequately and very effectively. If it's about harvesting this rainwater, or you're using it to actually kunyunyizia maji your farm, make sure you have done accordingly and act accordingly. Ikikuja ni kesho, I hope you have done that today, and tomorrow definitely Lily and Thomas will be reminding you about the weather updates. Kesho kama utakuwa pia ni kama umesahau kidogo, atakuwa nakukumbusha katika breakfast show from 8 in the morning. So make sure you have actually umejipanga vizuri. So definitely we are getting to the interesting segment of the pan of the day today, and if my director can just get it on the screen. And the pan of the day today is what do sheep do when they grieve? What do sheep do when they grieve? And definitely, as always, they give the condolences. So that's the pan of the day today. Remember, we always have the pan of the day every single time during this segment of the Farm Drive show, and we get to have the pans all the way from the farm animals, farm products, and anything to do with agriculture. Just always get the pan of the day katika kipindi cha Lala Salama right here on the Farm Drive with me, Conrad Kibe. And so as we wind up, let's now discuss the benefits of organic farming. Remember, we've talked about how to start, the components, the definition, the techniques that you need to use, the needs or the reason as to why you should get into organic farming, or you should actually start organic farmer. You as a farmer, either a new farmer, a young farmer, an old farmer who has just gotten tired of the chemicals around the farms. We've given you the reason as to why you should do this. If you are new to farming, we have given you how to start. We have shared with you the techniques, and now let's get to the benefits of why you're actually supposed to practice organic farming. And so the first one is straight up environmental friendly. Remember, no chemicals, everything is organic in that farm. Everything that you're doing is from a natural source, especially for you who want actually to get into pure organic farming. It's environmental friendly. Hakuna chemicals kwa hewa, kwa maji na kwa mchanga. Everything is pure, everything is of natural sources. The second one, we talked about promoting sustainable developments. If for you that is quote unquote more of food security for you and your family, if you're into home consumption, kama yako tu umetengeneza pale in your organic garden nyumbani, it's just for home consumption. Remember, you're playing that part of food security in this country. If you're doing that as agribusiness, you're taking your produce to the market, you're also playing a big part when it comes to sustaining food in the country, especially during this time of COVID-19. At the same time, we also get healthy and tasty food. Remember, you're using natural, everything that you're doing, especially from pure organic farming, it's from natural sources. The nutrients are of high quality, the soil fertility eco sawa. So definitely, without a doubt, your products will be healthy, and the food yenye unapika very very tasty. And at the same time, the other benefit that you get from organic farming is inexpensive process. Ni process tu kidogo. We talked about preparing your soil to make sure that the soil is adapting to organic farming. Ni kitu unaweza fanya pale nyumbani, haina maneno mingi. You are able to do it. If it's about preparing the compost, unaifanyia pia pale kwa farm. And the third thing, just go get the seedlings. If you're coming to a farmers, we help you get the seedlings. Well and good, you go home and you get your profits and you're good to go. All right, so it's very inexpensive. You don't use so much money, and you are not using so many processes to make sure that your farm or your soil has actually adapted to these conditions, or the micro conditions that are necessary when it comes to organic farming. And so the other one is it uses organic input. Remember, everything is organic, coming from the pesticides. You're using biological pest control. At the same time, you're using biological fertilizers. Everything is organic. The inputs that you're having, the seedlings that you've bought, they have actually grown, or they are from a care whereby there were no chemical pesticides or chemical fertilizers. So everything or every input in that soil or that farm is actually organic. At the same time, you're generating income. For example, if you're into agribusiness, and the veggies that you have planted on your farm, you have decided these ones will be going to the market. Hizi kidogo zitakuwa ni family consumption. You generate your income just like that, because you're producing healthy and quality produce. So definitely you get your profits, and at the same time you are able to actually quote unquote have self-employment. You're generating income by yourself just from practicing organic farming. At the same time, you'll find that most uh, exports that are done in this country are done in a process whereby they follow organic farming. If it's the pesticides, there are certain pesticides that are given by the government or that are located by the government to be used. And most of them hazikuangi za chemicals. So you'll find yourself, you're not just generating income internally or locally, you find yourself, you've been accepted to be part and parcel of those people that are allowed to export their produce, whether it's the flowers or any other produce that you have, the vegetables, either perishable goods that you have, you're part and parcel of that group that actually exports their products. At the same time, you can find yourself now you're getting into organic farming full time. So this becomes a source of employment. At the same time, it's a source of employment if you're working with the young people because needs a lot of labor. Remember, huyu ni kama mtoto lazima achungwe kila siku. You have to check out your farm every single day to check out if there's inefficiency of light, nutrients and water. If harvest yako ishakuwa fresh, imekuwa fiti, lazima uitoe uharvest. So at the same time you'll find yourself, probably you as a farmer, you've decided to go straight, especially during this time of COVID when we have in retrenchment and people losing jobs, and you decide to go full force and create employment for yourself. At the same time, probably you have a big land where you allocate labor, human labor. You're creating jobs or employment for other young people or for other people around this country or around this region. Also, another benefit of organic farming is labor intensive. So just the same way we are talking about source of employment. For you who has probably experienced the negative side or the rough side of COVID-19 when it comes to job employment, you are retrenched, manzee uliambiwa, it's either you go home or go big, and decided to go home and decide I'm going to farming. So you create employment for you, for yourself, and now because you've decided to go into farming, you decide to bring the young people, not just to be idle at home, to bring them, and as you give them that, you become like a source of employment to these young people. They are still learning from you. So you're doing two things which are right and are very beneficial to the young people. You're creating jobs for them, and at the same time, you're making them learn or you're teaching them on how to do farming, that they can rely on farming full time. They don't have to like take farming like a part-time job. You show them it's practical, it's practical, it's doable to do farming as a full-time job, and so their mindset actually changes and they realize this is something I can do. We don't have to go for white collar jobs every single time. This is what you can do. And you don't know what you'll be doing to the young people, especially if you give them jobs and they see you every single day in that farm. They will adapt, and apprenticeship will be the source of education that you'll be using at that time when you're talking to the young people. And the relevance of organic farming is one, high nutritional value. People are tired of getting or eating or consuming uh, products that are not actually of a high nutritional value, maximizing the profits. That's why people are getting here. And the third thing, we cannot exhaust this point, is about employment opportunities. Quickly, before we take a short break, we look at the limitations of organic farming. We have less output, produces less output than modern farming. So we're talking about the less output. So there's a bit of less output compared to the modern farming. Remember, organic farming started way back in the ancient times. So the output, when you look at the output, it's a bit less than the modern farming. We also have the products that you get from organic farming are of high price, or higher prices because of higher demand. Right now, people are demanding food or fresh food. that uh, don't have chemicals. The fertilizers that you're using hazina chemicals. Remember, now you're also targeting international market, so the prices are a bit higher because the demand is also getting higher. We also have the lack of awareness, especially for small and marginal farmers. They don't really like getting to adapt this kind of farming, so there's that lack of awareness. And quickly, where to sell these farm products or farm organic products? Most people, the challenge comes into the market. One, you have your neighbors around just your farm or your local ako ka location kenyu, ako ka shopping center. You can start selling your products from there. Charity begins at home. You can start from the people around you. Secondly, kama wewe unajisikia unajiweza, you can take your products to the farm market, the market that is near your location. Unaweza mujipeleka upeleke vitu huko, you work with the middlemen that are around there, because those are the people that run those markets. So if unajiweza ni sawa. If you also have connection and you can do this, you can also take to the local restaurants. We have so many, especially the vegetables and all this, especially for the vegetables. You can decide to have an agreement with the local restaurants, local schools, and you get your tender. Probably you're the one getting these restaurants and schools fresh vegetables straight out of the farm. The other one that we talked about yesterday is online markets. If it's so hard for you to start market from scratch, ingia online, ingia kwenye mtandao, create market, make sure you've branded yourself in the right way, and definitely you will never lack market. Ukijipanga vizuri, especially for online markets, you never lack market. As long as you appeal to the eye, you're good to go. You appeal to the eye in the sense of good pictures, good branding, and good description. And the pricing is amazing. Every single time you'll get online market, and believe you me, online market doesn't have a limitation. Anyone from any part of this world can see your product, and probably they may be a consumer. So those are some of the things you need to understand about organic farming. Talked about the definition, the types, the technical, the techniques that you need to use, the reasons as to why you need to get into organic farming, the benefits. We have seen the limitation, and as we wind up, we have seen the markets, or where you can sell these products. So it's up to you as a farmer, you who has not yet decided on whether to get into organic farming. Now you have all the reasons as to why you need to get to organic farming. Now it's time for you to actually act right. When you come back after this short break, the traffic updates.
Farmers is the home of Africa Farmers Club, and by extension, African farmers. The whole idea behind Farmers is to transform the image of an African farmer from a producer into an agripreneur, somebody who actually does not think about how to produce onions, but how much is going to be used to produce onions, and so that way then they can be able to transform their vision, they can be able to look at their farms as businesses, and they can be able to know when to engage with the market. What we have done is that we have developed a hub where farmers bring their information, bring their questions, their challenges, and other farmers are there to come out and help. Facebook has not just been instrumental, Facebook has been a working partner for myself as well. And Facebook has actually transformed the way we relate, an open platform. My background is in tech, and I know you cannot build a platform that can reach out to so many people. Initially, it was just a few farmers in 2 counties, Machakos County and Kajiado counties, but now it has transformed. We have a stronger membership from Nigeria and Zambia than even Kenya itself, you know. And the reason behind this is the messages I get from different farmers across Africa. And then something interesting came to my mind, and I thought about using the camera. Every time I visited farmers, I would be able to post in the community, in the group, in my own profile, and just share the story of the farmer that I visited. And then I asked myself, why wouldn't I get this information, develop it in a way that other people can be able to benefit? If we go for a training, how do we capture that so that those who are not, the farmers who are not able to come for that training can still benefit? And hence the birth of Farmers Media. Our mission as an organization is to help farmers, African farmers, to attain knowledge and grow profits.
So this is the situation that is having or is looking at in your roads today. Tunaanza hapa karibu na Namanga Road. Traffic is just starting or it's beginning. So kama uko karibu ama unakuja hizi sides za Kitengela, make sure you are advised accordingly. We go all the way to Cabanas, karibu na Cabanas, and heading towards Imara Daima, not looking really good. And so you need to be advised that traffic is just starting to build up around Imara Daima. We go all the way to Capital Center tukielekea Nyayo Stadium, pale traffic it's packed, it's bumper to bumper. Definitely watu wa Mbagathi Road kama kawaida from Kenyatta National Hospital kushuka hivyo Valley Road, hapo Mbagathi way doesn't look well until pale karibu na T-Mall on your way to Langata Road. Na watu wa Langata Road maneno inaishia wapi? From Langata Road karibu na Carnival, from there it actually looks clear, but all the way starting from Mbagathi Road hadi hapo karibu na T-Mall, it's really packed. Na watu wa Ngong Road maneno iko sambamba until pale Coptic, not really looking bad. And definitely watu wa wapi industrial area looking really packed. I think people are using that as a shortcut, especially for those using Mombasa Road. So Southern Bypass iko empty hivyo, and remember from yesterday watu wanatumia Southern Bypass, you have to go all the way back to Nyayo Stadium. So it's a bit hectic for the people who are using the Southern Bypass to get to Langata. You have to go back to Nyayo Stadium. So tukipanda juu hadi watu wanaenda Westlands around Chiromo Road. It's a bit there's heavy traffic around Chiromo ukipanda hivyo until Westlands. So people around that area, be advised. I think ni Nairobi, the expressway bado inaendelea kujengwa, so kuna a lot of traffic pale, and you can see it's actually less, we are getting to less than 3 hours to curfew, so you need to actually be advised properly. As always, watu wa Thika Road maneno inaanzia pale Muthaiga all the way to Allsops, so make sure you are actually advised properly na umeweza kujitayarisha. I know it's a bit hard for the commuters who are using the public service vehicles, so just make sure you just prepare yourself accordingly. It's challenging, but at the same time it's very doable. So make sure you take care of yourselves on these roads, and definitely for the people around the 5 red zones, remember curfew bado ni 8 p.m. and for the rest of the country curfew yenyu ni 10 p.m. Thank you so much for this being part of this conversation. We've had an amazing one and close to 2 hours conversation that we have really enjoyed. We have really we have really gained a lot. So it's always my pleasure to do this 5 days a week. Definitely for everyone who has made this production a success, from my directors and everyone behind the scenes, nasema asanti. Tufanye hivi tena 3 p.m. inshallah.